Hello there, welcome. So right off the bat, I just gotta say that receiving a GTA trailer this early on, with at the very least another year or so to wait, is a bit like having an itch in your nether region and then being told you're not allowed to scratch it. It's painful, especially as the trailer footage is this damn good. And you know what, I've always played most of the GTA games, even the old school 2D originals. However, if I had to pick my favourite Rockstar game, it would be without a doubt Red Dead 2. Which I've always viewed as their flagship game anyways, as it seems they put so much more love and care into that particular franchise. To be honest, GTA hadn't been on my mind for some time, and I never realised we were expecting a trailer for the 6th instalment of the series, until it blew up the internet the other week with well over 150 million views. But my god, am I hyped for this game now. I travelled to Florida a few times when I was younger and loved the experience, but I've always lived in England, and you know, culture and climate differences and whatnot do kind of make this trailer very appealing to me, I gotta say. So this video will just be my humble reaction to what we see in the GTA 6 trailer, me trying to make sense of all the crazy Floridian shenanigans cram-packed into this 90 seconds of pure eye candy. Well, mostly. The trailer opens with the most gorgeous blood red sky as the sun sets in the west, and you know what, games these days are all about the lighting, so I can see this one really pushing the limits of current consoles when running those higher resolutions. But no matter, 2028 is just around the corner for those willing to wait for next gen. But I'm just making fun, of course, because I'm a PC player and I do have to actually wait some time unless I join the console club, which to be honest I'm quite happy to do just for this title alone. But Rockstar truly lives up to their name when it comes to their choice of music for the trailer. I did wonder how many GTA fans belonging to younger generations would know the song Love Is a Long Road by Tom Petty, which by the way is getting over 30,000% more interest now on Spotify because of this one trailer. I've been a fan of Petty since I was young, may he rest in peace, and to my surprise, he's just made a bit of a comeback from the grave by elevating the next GTA to extraordinary heights. But the song just fits, doesn't it? Not only does it deliver the mood and the vibe of the game quite nicely, but if the lyrics to the song relate in any way to how the story will pan out, then it could suggest a lengthy get-to-know-each-other crime adventure in the style of Bonnie and Clyde. I'm assuming these are the two main characters we are likely to play throughout the game, switching back and forth. If it's only two as opposed to three characters in GTA, then great, no complaints there. If so, it sounds like to me they are trying to keep the story more tight-knit with a narrower focus rather than constantly switching between multiple viewpoints. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that, because I never found it too distracting in GTA 5 to switch between characters, and I don't know what it says about me that I may have loved playing as Trevor a little bit too much. Maybe it was his thick skin and blatant disregard for any form of manners around people that weirdly made him so endearing. But anyway, we see a broadcast tower here, which apparently is the highest point in Florida, and of course we'll be able to base jump from it. No question about that. It would be the biggest case of bait and switch if you couldn't, and you know it's going to be the first thing that people try to do when they're finally released upon Vice City. Could also be especially helpful when getting some distance away from the pigs, when your vehicle is impounded and you're wanted for 12 counts of manslaughter, I would imagine. It's great that we start in prison, where no doubt we get our compulsory tutorials in typical GTA fashion. I mean, it's not Call of Duty, they don't release a half-baked game every single year, and so some of us forget the controls. But what excites me about the prospect of starting out this way is that not only will we begin with nothing but the clothes on our backs, a few dollar bills, and a couple of old phone numbers to get us back in the game, baby. Finally, we have a good story explanation as to why our characters start as nobodies, and with a bank account to match. In true cyberpunk fashion, I'm sure we'll have to work our way up the ranks to make a name for ourselves once more. Oh, and yes, everybody's talking about how good the hair looks, and they're right, it does look phenomenal, but just remember to think about your electricity bill each time the sunlight exposes every strand of hair that seems to flow ever so freely in that perfect next-gen volumetric physics. Damn, they have nailed it though, haven't they? And I swear it's only been in the last year or two that game designers have finally produced realistic hair. Sadly, we're only talking about a few games here and there though at best. Sorry Starfield, I know you've taken a real battering this year. A quick glimpse of the ocean life here, sharks, dolphins, nothing new really, it just looks much better. But just as a side thought, whilst I'm looking at this beautiful shoreline, I'm wondering to myself how good it will look to swim around and explore in. So is it about time that GTA adopted what Red Dead 2 and other games do so well, and that is to include more incentives to go exploring? In Red Dead you could discover abandoned places or hidden caves and find cash or treasure tucked away. I believe loot is the term used. My experience with GTA is that wealth isn't accumulated this way. Everything is detailed and looks cool, but when you are limited to not actually having a proper inventory system and not being able to pick up treasure and other goods for the purpose of selling, we then remain reliant on the classic GTA formula of rushing through story missions just to get enough money to buy businesses and more properties, which is still fun of course. But wouldn't it be nice to have secret areas scattered across the map that reward you for seeking them out perhaps? But then the issue becomes, well, I want to spend all this accumulated wealth on nice cars etc, but all those perks have always been reserved for the online element only. I guess what I'm saying is that I wish Rockstar would infuse all that fantastic stuff you can do with the money making and spending in online mode back into the story side of the game for those of us who want to deviate every now and then from the missions and focus on something else. Red Dead 2 had similar issues, that there was pretty much nothing to spend your cash on in story mode beyond making 3 to 4k. I understand these games are more story focused and are an absolute thrill to play of course, but that's just my little niggle anyhow. Let me know what you think. The architecture of the city looks like it's been imitated quite closely to existing structures. It looks great and it seems like a big game too. They say that we'll be able to enter around 70% of buildings, which is a staggering amount. I wonder if that means more places to rob and more stores selling game items, or whether it's simply cosmetic. I remember when people found out that in Cyberpunk you couldn't go into most of the buildings and megastructures. They got pretty pissed, but honestly, why would you want to? Unless there is a strong purpose to do so, you're just going to get bored, aren't you? Who knows, maybe they'll add some new features to break the mould and spice up the formula. As much as I love Rockstar games, every big franchise series gets boring if they don't add and expand on what works. Well, the beach looks dynamic, doesn't it? I can see myself getting into a few scraps in this particular spot. I don't know what I find funnier, the clearly harmless guy on the right taking low angle photos of a lady he probably doesn't know, or the juice head running with a chihuahua in centre view here. It's definitely a good spot for a rampage, though, that's for sure. Maybe Trevor will make a well-needed appearance in GTA 6 after all. So all these glimpses we see of Jason and Lucia, no doubt after her prison release. They appear to be living life to the fullest and happy to have their freedom, but I really get a sense that we are just going to be thrown well and truly into the deep end in the best way possible. Maybe their first job is a big one that sends things spiralling out of control, and the only way to stay afloat is to keep up the momentum, taking job after job, just trying to stay alive in all this craziness. Well, this nightclub certainly looks lived in, doesn't it? And I don't mean that as a compliment. Oddly busy for a Monday as well, I might add. The nightclubs in Cyberpunk were the most immersive I've ever seen in a game, but maybe GTA will take that spot soon, we'll see. This shot is amazing and it really captures what I surmise as part of the essence of Florida. Palm trees swaying in the warm evening breeze to a backdrop of expensive yachts passing in and out of exclusive marinas, all under the shadow of dozens of distant and well-lit high-rise towers. I mean, the city looks alive, so I hope they've added many more random events and encounters than previous titles. It would be a shame if the only way to interact with all these happy people was to start violence, wouldn't it? Who am I kidding? If all the mainstream media does these days is promote violence and bad news all the time, then surely I'm entitled and well within my rights to cause as much trouble in a video game as I like, right? This shot gives me a lot of hope that the map will be as big as what has been leaked so far. Vice City is supposedly twice the size of the Los Angeles inspired map in GTA 5. It makes sense when we see so many different contrasting areas in the trailer, from the city and its beaches to the connecting islands, suburbs and alligator infected bayous. As long as the campaign is longer so that it justifies the size of the map, because I want a reason to travel everywhere and see everything, of course. So this has to be Lucia, as the body kind of matches her thick set, you know, a bit of a chunky monkey. I really hope our protagonist doesn't find fame and wealth in TikTok as opposed to robbing banks and good old fashioned murdering, but I can understand that the world has changed since the last GTA and they gotta cater to the masses, I suppose. Now, you'd think if you were going to live next to an alligator-infested swamp, you'd put a bloody fence up, wouldn't you? I've watched Swamp People on History Channel, and they make it look easy. But as far as I know, if one of those things get a hold of you, then it's game over, man. It certainly was in Red Dead. Ugh, no comment. It is what it is, really. If this is actually a thing, then they need to start applying seatbelts onto ski racks, because this is a disaster waiting to happen. The racing and other car events are absolutely where GTA dominates. Whether it be the easiness of controls or cinematic style, driving in GTA is far better than any other game I've played. Not sure what this shot in the trailer signifies, but it would be amazing if you could roll up to some stunt event and participate to earn cash or prizes. Sort of like a dance-off but with vehicles. This bodycam footage reminds me of so many films I've seen and always looks so cinematic. Although it may just be part of a cutscene, I sincerely hope they find a way to incorporate this into the gameplay as part of certain missions maybe. It just looks too good and insanely immersive for it just to be a clip. So the term Florida Man, can this be applied to any individual that demonstrates characteristics normally associated with crazy redneck behaviour? Sorry if that sounded offensive, I should have said colourful behaviour. But is that what it means, like saying this shit only happens in Florida, right? Let me know in the comments, as I'm interested in learning more about the lore of Florida Man. It sounds deep. Here we have a Florida girl, I guess, and the guy behind her celebrating with a beer after a good session of mud wrestling. Can you blame him? So how crazy is Florida, or is this just a compilation of viral clips showcasing the best of? Maybe there are certain rites of passage in this crazy state I don't know about, but so far it definitely advertises a small nation of free spirits and a sunshine state. This lady kind of reminds me of Rhubarb Lady. Remember her? The nutcase that kept shouting, "Alley property, bitch!" Yeah, these people do exist, don't they? Well, that's what it's all about right there. Those green dollar bills. As I said before, I really hope they are able to inject some of the cool ways to earn and spend cash from the online side into the story mode of the game. I want to be able to own all the best cars, fully upgraded, and have enough garage space to house them all, please. You just know this guy has to be a real dude, don't you? There's far too much detail and craziness in those eyes for it to be made up. Weirdly, I don't doubt there's anything that can happen in GTA that hasn't happened already in real life by this point. All these clips seem to just be news headlines and so forth, designed to help build up the world and lay down the theme of crime and crazy. It does a great job at getting me hyped, but sadly I think we're a long ways off from seeing any gameplay footage, of course. I think the real message here, apart from expect to be blown away, is expect some form of redemption for some of the fans who are not happy with particular elements from previous GTAs, as I'm sure they are hoping to fix some of the biggest complaints, as well as go far beyond what has been done before. They have to. People have been waiting a long time for this. I feel like the story will take us on a path of hard work, hard decisions and tough jobs, but the payoff will be the riches of the high life with fame and fortune. The buddy crime duo of Lucia and James will no doubt have us on the edge of our seats in a very us against the world attitude as we grind our way to the top in typical and epic GTA fashion with blood, sweat and dynamite, baby. I cannot wait, and in fact this trailer has made me start over in GTA 5 once more, and maybe I'll give Red Dead another go also. Let me know what you thought of the trailer and your expectations in the comments below. But in the meantime, please stay entertained. Take care, folks.